A Texas doctor who raced to use vaccine doses before they expired is now out of a job and accused of stealing. Dr. Hassan Gokul was at a Houston area vaccination site as it was closing in mid-December. He had exactly 10 doses of the Moderna vaccine left that would have expired in a matter of hours. So with time ticking, he made house calls, vaccinating eligible people in his neighborhood. He also vaccinated his own wife. Then he was fired for it. Joining me now is Dr. Hassan Gokul and his attorney, Paul Doyle. Gentlemen, welcome. Doctor, first to you. Do you, I guess, regret vaccinating your wife?
Boy, no. She wasn't intended to get that vaccine that day. It was quite by chance. The last person who happened to be slated, the elderly person who didn't show up with only a few minutes left, and that's when I vaccinated her. So given that at that point in time, the only alternative would have been to throw it, I'm not sure I would have done anything different.
You know, I know one judge dismissed the lawsuit saying you're a doctor, you were doing what needed to be done. We also reached out to the Harris County DA. We haven't received a response yet, but they have characterized you as an opportunist who let your family and neighbors skip the line. I know you were rushing to get vaccine out that was going to expire. How do you respond?
Look, I think, to be honest, they didn't have the full facts at the time. When I gave the vaccines to the people, they were acquaintances, some of them were acquaintances of acquaintances, and some of them were people I didn't know. I mean, they were people I introduced myself to at the last minute when I gave it. So the facts subsequently spoke for themselves. It's unfortunate that those facts weren't there in the beginning, or it would have been nice if I had been asked. I would have been able to save them a lot of trouble, I would think.
Dr. Gokul, we've seen other places give out vaccines quickly when they were about to expire, at supermarkets, or, you know, the other day in Dallas or in Houston, going to university students because they didn't have refrigeration because of the storm. Do you think if you had done this at a different location, one that wasn't your neighborhood, that you would have faced the same consequences?
Look, when this happened, it was at simply the very first public event. When you're starting something new and trying to get something out there, there are going to be hiccups. And the thing is, since then, we've learned so much more. The guys at Harris County Public Health, they're hardworking, trying to do the right thing. And clearly what they did in the face of such pressures was the right thing, which is to get out and get whoever you can and not let it go to waste. You know, the parallels between what I went through and what they did are, in fact, there and very clear. It's unfortunate we didn't have the benefit of that experience back then.
So the Texas Medical Association, along with the Harris County Medical Society, have both recently issued a statement to support physicians like yourself, saying that Dr. Gokul, among others, who find themselves scrambling to avoid wasting the vaccine in a punctured vial. So they're supporting you. The community so far has been supporting you. What are your plans next?
You know, I think something needs to be said first about the fact that the physicians who are in tough positions need to be able to make those decisions and without the risk of criminal action. That's number one. But at the end of the day, I really want to get back to making a living and taking care of people. That's what I've done all my life. That's what I enjoy.
Do you plan on filing a wrongful termination lawsuit?
I haven't had any chance to really think about this until I get out of the whole criminal piece. I mean, Paul, who's my counsel, might have some more words on that.
Well, I can tell you, and we said it after the first press release, that an apology is not going to be good enough. But right now, he's looking at up to a year in jail and in a potential indictment from the Harris County grand jury. So we're focused on that. We're focused on freedom as we speak.
Dr. Hassan Gokul and his attorney, Paul Doyle. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.